Here at Solid Woodworks, we create storage and car camping solutions. Everything you see here, we send to you to create this. Hey guys, Brian here from Solid Woodworks. Today I'm going to show you how to build the Tacoma PreCut Kit for the both second and third generation. I'll show you how to build a short bed and long bed kit, what tools you're going to need to build the kit, and what comes into your package. These are the tools you're going to need to build your PreCut Kit. You need a drill motor with a Phillips head, a hammer, a little bit of wood glue, and a pencil. This is all the hardware that will come in your PreCut Kit to install and build your drawer system. First off, we have 1.5 inch screws. These screws will be used to attach any of the two pieces of wood together, side jams into the back, bottoms into the side jams. Any piece of wood that's getting screwed together is using these 1.5 inch screws. Next up, we have 1 inch screws. These will be used to go from the drawer side jams into the drawer fronts. We have an assortment of machine screws. The 1/2 inch long ones will be used to install your drawer slides into the drawer jams and the sides of the box. The 3/8 ones will be used specially just in the center jam of the box, and I'll show you in this video where the shorter screws will go. We have the T-nuts used for the small machine screws to install your drawer slides. We have D-rings along with T-nuts and machine screws. The D-rings will be attached to the outside of your drawer box to then attach turnbuckles to mount to your stock Tacoma D-rings in the bed. And lastly, we have the turnbuckles. These turnbuckles be going from the side of your drawer jam attached to the stock points in your drawer bed of your Tacoma. They'll also include a little phone holder I like to use when building anything, so you can set your phone on there. You can watch this video either way you want and follow along to build the whole PreCut Kit. All right, now that you see all the hardware that you need, we're gonna start building the box. First thing you're gonna want is the drawer box jams. We're gonna take those and we're gonna put all the T-nuts in them. There'll be 3 jams that look like this. This is what it looks like for the long bed, 6 foot long. You'll see in here there's an assortment of holes. The lower holes down here will be for your drawer slide jams, and the upper holes will be for your D-ring attachments. First, we're gonna lay all of these out. So that we have it positioned for adding our small T-nuts. They'll be coming in a bag like this. You wanna place these T-nuts in all of these lower holes that they fit in down here. They'll fit just snug. So work your way down. There'll be 6 per piece. You're just gonna wanna grab your hammer and just pound them in until they're flush. Now that you have your small T-nuts in, you're gonna wanna take your hardware bag with your larger T-nuts and your D-rings and install those as well before you put your box together. You're gonna wanna install these T-nuts on the opposite side of these smaller ones. So you're gonna flip your piece of wood over. You wanna pop these in to these upper holes that are vertical on the wood here on both sides. So you have this side. You also have the front of your drawer system. The front of the drawer system does not have a tab on it. And that will be for your stock mounting points. All right, now that you have all of your T-nuts installed, you're gonna have all your jams set up like this. You can grab your box back. What you're gonna wanna do is fold this up so that it will meet with your jams. So what I like to do is stand up the jams like this with the tabs facing up. You'll fold your back like such. You'll get the indents to go together. Give a nice good little whack. Now that you have your back and your jam together and you make sure everything is flush, you'll see your pre-drilled holes here. Get your inch and a half screws. You're gonna install your inch and a half screws into this corner. There'll be 2 here and 1 on the opposite side. While installing these screws, you're gonna make sure to keep everything here flush and make sure you countersink the screw head. All right, we're gonna move to the center jam now. Same thing with the center jam, you'll lift it up. It'll slot right into the back right here. 2 1/2" screws will go into the back. Make sure you're nice and flush. And the other side. So now that you have your entire jam and box carcass set up, you'll bring on your your box bottom. This is what the long bed box bottom looks like. As you can see, there's cutouts here to save some weight, and this is what will become your divider inside of the drawer box. So as you can see, all the indents were all fit together. All you gotta do is kind of wiggle a little bit and start pushing it all together. Like such. You'll start screwing all this down with all your 1/2" screws. For the Tacoma short bed, it'll be the same concept, except you'll have a first piece like this. Will not have any cutouts in it. This is because the Tacoma short bed is that much shorter than the long bed. What I'll normally do is get the back on first of your first bottom piece. As you can see that by all the different tabs here. This is what the back one looks like. Then there'll be a middle and a front. So on this, just like everything else, you'll want to start in a corner and work your way out to keep everything nice and flush. Same thing, 1/2" screws. Countersink the head. Same on these, nice and flush here. Apply pressure if it's not flush. Insert your screw and countersink it. Now that you have your first bottom piece on, you'll bring on your middle piece. This is universal, so it can fit either way. Once again, cutouts in here for all your dividers. Your pre-cut kit will come with its own dividers in there, and you could additionally purchase the false tops at different materials. I like to work one piece at a time. Your front bottom piece will be flush in the front here. There'll be no tabs on it. Now you have your bottom, your middle looks like such, your back has the tab holes. Once again, screw all this in, keeping everything flush. For the last piece, I normally like to start from the front here, ensure it's nice and flush, and work your way back. All right, so now that you've got your whole drawer bottom in, you got your whole carcass of the box built, we're gonna install the drawer slides. So we're gonna use 500-pound, 5-foot long locking drawer slides on the outsides and non-locking ones on the insides. This is what they'll look like. Right here is a locking drawer slide. As you can see, you have a little blue tab on the end here. You wanna find the appropriate one for each side. So once you have your drawer slide into the box like such, I find this way pretty easy to install them. You want to have your tab for each side be able to push down. So this is the box bottom. You want the tab to push down. So this is now the right side. The other side will have the same tab, except it'll be on the opposite side. It'll also be pushing down. So as you can see, you can slide it in and out right here. You also want it to be flush right here. Once it's installed, you want this part to be flush. And that's how you're going to start installing your drawer slides. So once you have your drawer slide in, you will slide out the inner rail to reveal all the different holes you're going to use to install your screws. So right here you have some machine bolts. This is the 1/2" size. You can see that these are a little bit longer. There's another piece that is just a 3/8, a little bit shorter. So make sure you grab your 1/2" ones for these outside rails. You're gonna locate your hole in here. So what you're gonna wanna do is get your bolt in and then slowly work your way down. On each side, there'll be 6 holes, so make sure that you hit them all that you installed your T-nuts in. Once again, another bolt in. Now that you have your outside in, you're gonna wanna do your non-locking slide. Your non-locking slide will look the same as the first one I installed, except there's just no blue tab on this side. It'll have just a completely flush side there. Your non-locking slides will go in the middle. Same weight rating and everything as your locking slides. So same thing with the slide here. You want to line it up flush in the front and then move your inner rail until you see your hole with the T-nut in it. You will install your 1/2-inch screws. Work your way down, get all those in, and once you flip it over, you'll do the exact same thing. Now that you got one side of your slides in, you want to work on your other side. This is another example of how you can install your slides is flat on the table like this. So once again, you'll have your locking slide with the blue tab on the outside. Flush in the front. Be able to click this open, slide the whole inner rail out. You'll see a hole in here to where you can access your screws. I'll line this up with your screw holes, keeping this flush the whole time. All right, so once again on the locking slide, you want to have it flush in the front, work your way down all the different screw holes, line it up, get it in, snug, but don't over tighten it. The first 4, you're gonna have to access through this hole. Once you get to the back 2, you can slide the inner rails all the way forward and access these back 2 much easier. All right, now that we're on the final slide, this is actually one of the more important installations of the project. What we're gonna be using is the smaller machine screws that will come in your pack. These are 3/8 long. The reason they are so is because the 1/2 inches come from the other side and the T-nut over here can only get such a depth of screw into it, right? So we're gonna line up our non-locking slide like such, slide it all the way out until we find our hole. This is a little access hole. You're gonna line it up and you can see the T-nut in there. These 3/8 screws will come in and you actually screw right into the same T-nut. The screws are not long enough to hit the next bolt, so you'll be just fine with that. Keeping it flush in the front, we'll work our way down to the next bolt. So working our way down, keeping the front flush, we'll find each bolt and screw it in. All right, now that we have finished putting the drawer slides inside of your box carcass, we're gonna now start building the drawers that go inside of your box. This is gonna be the same concept with the T-nuts. We're gonna grab a handful of these T-nuts, and the T-nuts are gonna go on the inside of the drawer box so that they attach the drawer slides to the outside. So same thing, just gonna start popping these T-nuts into any of these holes you see on the lower side. I like to, as you can see, kind of mimic them. So you have the tabs together here and the indents for the false tops on the outside. Here's your dividers. Work your way down, installing all of these T-nuts. Once you have all your T-nuts installed, once again, go along with your hammer and pound them in flush. Once you have all of your T-nuts pounded in flush to your drawer jambs, you're gonna get your drawer back here. Get these set up accordingly. Fold them up and attach your drawer back just like the box. Same thing, we're gonna use the 1.5 inch screws and make sure the whole side is flush. Start attaching. So same thing, there'll be little pre-drilled holes here that you'll be able to find super easily. Get that started, make sure you're nice and flush. Grab your other side, line it up. Make sure all the indents are nice and tight and flush right here. You'll find your pre-drilled holes. Screw it in until it's flush. There we go. Now that you have your back on and your jambs, you're gonna now attach the bottom of the drawer. So this is what the bottom of the drawer looks like. As you're gonna see, all the indents as well, that'll line up perfectly. The one part to make sure that this all fits perfectly is you wanna have these pocket holes facing outward when you're building this. Now that we have the box bottom on, you can see the right orientation is with these pocket holes facing up. This will be used to attach the drawer front later on in this installation. So once again, you're going to want to use your 1.5 inch screws. Keep it flush. Work your way along each side of the drawer box, making sure it's flush. Sometimes it's also easy to have the drawer flipped up like this, so you can actually get these screws a little bit easier. Totally up to your preference. But make sure that you've hit every single pre-drilled hole. Keep this box nice and strong. All right, that is one drawer finished. You'll build the other drawer the exact same way, and then you'll be able to install them in your system. So now that you have both of your drawers built, we're gonna get our drawer box back on the table, bring our drawers and set them in here and show you how to install everything. Here's one of our drawer boxes. All you're gonna do is drop it between the drawer slides like such. What I like to do is slide it all the way back. Having your drawer slides out a little bit like this helps a lot. Now we're just gonna bring it out, flush up the drawer slide. Take some of our 1/2 inch machine bolts. And you're just gonna look in here and you'll be able to see the hole. And you're just gonna drop one of your bolts in there. This very first bolt, if you can see, there's kind of a slot vertically. You wanna land it right in the middle of the slot. So now that you have your very first bolt started in your drawer here on the non-locking slide, you wanna do the same on the locking slide. So I'm gonna do this over here. And same thing with the other part. You'll pretty much just start slowly sliding out the drawer. The more you slide out, the more holes will be exposed. And you'll just start filling up all those T-nut holes with these bolts. I like to work my way from one side to another to ensure that everything is getting structurally attached at the same time. Now that you've got the first 3 bolts in, you're gonna try to slide this middle rail all the way out until you see the exposed hole again. And lift up the bottom of the drawer box a little bit until you see it, and attach this one. This is how you're gonna be attaching the next 2 bolts as well. Work your way around until you see next hole lines up. And your last one. All right, now we're gonna drop the second drawer in. It's much easier to have your drawer slide out a little bit when you drop the second drawer in, so you're not trying to get your fingers back there and getting them pinched. Same thing like on the other side. This is our locking slide. We're gonna line up that vertical slot first on the first bolt. So make sure that first bolt is right in the middle of that vertical slot. And same thing, you start working your way down the drawer box. Screw it in nice and easy, not to strip anything. Also come over to the other side and kind of work your way left to right, making sure it's all nice and even. All right, once you start getting to your back 3 bolts, you're gonna have to access it through this little hole, this little window here. If you can see, kind of pull it up, you'll see the hole in there. You might just have to lift up a little bit on the drawer to get it to line up perfectly. And while you're pulling out the drawer, hold this drawer slide so it doesn't move anymore. You'll kind of be able to look at the other side of the drawer to see where that bolt is coming up to. All these bolts are the 1/2 inch long ones. There we go. We'll finish our last couple on the other side, and this thing is ready to get the top and drawer fronts on. All right, so now I'm gonna show you how to install your drawer fronts of your Tacoma box. As you can see on the backs of the drawer fronts, you have an indent in the back here. This is so that when you snap it onto the drawer box, it'll fit perfectly, and it'll keep it nice and square. This is much easier to hold in place as well while you're screwing it in from the back through the pocket holes. The hardware you will be using for these drawer fronts are 1-inch long screws so that you don't poke out through the front. So I'm gonna show you how this goes on now. Once you have it lined up on here, it'll snap into that indentation in the back, and you'll wanna keep the top of the face of the drawer and the top of the drawer nice and flush right there. That'll be the correct alignment. Once you see you have the right side and you've checked alignment, you'll pull it off, use your wood glue, when I do this, I try not to get some glue in the first about inch up here, or else it'll sit inside of this little crevice right here where the false tops sit, and then you're just gonna have to wipe it away. So just kind of be wary of that. Now that we have our bead of glue inside the indentation, we're gonna lift it up, make sure the locking tab goes in, make sure it snaps into these indentations. We're gonna apply pressure with the drawer face hard against the drawer here. We're gonna have our 1-inch screw on our drill motor. Line up your screw right in the center of there. Apply pressure. So you want to sink the screw about this much so it doesn't blow out the other side. All right, now you have the left side on. We're gonna work on the right. Same thing, locking hole. Make sure you have the right front lining up. Tab your glue into the indent. The glue helps with strength on the drawer face with the pocket holes. Pocket hole screws are used so that you don't see the screws from the face, gives it a much cleaner look. All right, so now we have one screw over here. I'm gonna work on this side. Make sure you get the 1-inch screw right in the center of that pocket hole so you don't have any blowouts, and make sure that the top right here is flush with the drawer. Once again, do not bury the screw too deep into the wood or else you'll start poking out the front. Now that you have the interior drawer pocket hole screws in, you're gonna wanna flip the system over and screw in your drawer front screws from the bottom into the face through your pocket holes here. This wood is only 1/2 inch thick, so be wary of where you center your screws. So let me show you. You wanna center it up right here. Once again, apply pressure here. Nice and easy. Don't bury the screw, just make sure the head is flush. Same with the other drawer front. I'm gonna line it up. You can see it's 1/2 inch. You wanna get that screw perfectly centered in there. Apply pressure, slowly screw it in. And just like that, Don't bury the head, just perfectly flush. So now you've got your drawer tops. Drop that on there. You want to make sure that you have it flush on the side and the back of the system here. On the back of the system, you'll see two little pre-drilled holes showing you that this is the back of the system. The front that goes over the drawer fronts will not have any pre-drilled holes right here. So what I normally do is I'll work my way from this back corner along the side, screw in the back, add the other side and do the same thing, making sure they're nice and tight together, and then you'll start screwing in the middle. For this, we will be using the 1.5 inch screws. So get a handful of those. Start in the corner back here. Line up this corner. Now that we have it nice and flush. Once you get those first couple screws in, you're gonna wanna kind of work your way down the side, make sure it's flush. If it is not, you're gonna wanna have to tweak the top a little bit to keep this flush right here. So right now I'm gonna push the top over so that this next screw lines up flush. So for this screw, I can see that it's hanging over a little bit too much, so I'm gonna pull it back over, hold it in place. This whole part is pretty important so that once you get the entire side flush, the other side will land on the center jamb perfectly. So once again, as you're moving along, kind of set your screw, hold on to the front, make sure it's nice and flush. Now that we have one entire side and the first one on the back, same thing, we're gonna make sure that this back goes flush. So you might have to put a little bit of pressure here to get that. This is one of the harder parts of the build so that you can actually move along from here to create the entire system nice and square, and it'll fit in the back of the truck easier, and all the joints on the top will go together well. Set it on here, and you'll see that it'll snap together right here, almost like a zipper. This is so that there's evenly dispersed weight on both sides. So now that this is sitting on here and this is sitting on here, the center is nice and strong in case you have a lot of weight on here or when you're sleeping and everything. So same thing, we're gonna work our way from the back along the side to make sure everything comes out flush. Okay, now that we have the entire side, back, and opposite side screwed in, you're gonna work your way down the center. Now that the outsides are screwed in, it's gonna put pressure towards the center, keeping this nice and tight together. I usually like to work from the back. Work my way forward, same thing. Countersink, flush these screws. And you can see the gap coming together real nice. Now that we have the whole drawer system built, the last piece of the puzzle pretty much is installing your mounting hardware. Right here we have the D-rings and the machine bolts that go into your T-nuts. These are 1/4 bolts and nice strong D-rings. All you're gonna have to do is line up these holes with the holes here. Get your screw in there, nice and easy. Just kind of set that one. Make sure your next one lines up. Tighten it up. There we go. Do that to all 4 holes and you'll be ready to put it in the back of your truck. All right, so that is your entire drawer system built. With your pre-cut kit, you'll get a handful of these dividers, which you can easily just drop into these slots, vertical slots inside of your drawer system. Also on the website, you'll have a couple different options of false tops. The false tops are perfect for when you have your drawer system pulled out the back of your truck. You have a nice flat surface to either cook or work on. This is what I call the normal false top on the website. It is made from the same sort of light ply as the drawer system. We also offer metal false tops for a nice clean stove cooking surface. You can wipe down really easily. And our third option is our best seller, is our bamboo cutting board with an integrated drip tray for any of your preparation needs.